Okay, here's part two to the standard normal distribution lecture. Um, Now we might be given the probability and have to find the z value that goes with it. Um, this is the inverse probabilities. And there are still the same three scenarios as before: less than, greater than, and the between scenario. So if we look at the less than scenario, um, and this would be finding the z value so that 20% of the area is less than. So let's look at the standard normal distribution table again. So we're going to go to the negative side and 20%. Negative side because it's less than 0.5. So let's look for, we're looking for the closest value in the middle to zero point 0.2 or 20%. And it looks like right here. So we see that negative 0.8 and going up here and negative 0.84 is our answer. So again, the less than side is pretty simple. We'll look in the next one, is negative 0.84. So that's the less than scenario. Now looking at the greater than scenario, if we want to find the z value so that the probability that z is greater than it is 0.32, this is the notation you may see. So if you see that z subscript 0.32, that means when you want to find the value of z, that 32% is to the right. Okay, since we know that the area under the curve is 1, and we also know that 32% is to the right, all we have to do is say 1 minus 0.32, which is 0.68, to get what the area to the left. And we want the area to the left because this makes it easier to find it in the table in your book, so the z table. So if we go to the book, and we're going to look at the problem. Oh, I went the wrong one. We look for 0.68, the closest value to 0.68. And we're looking at the positive because it's greater than 0.5. And that's so we see that 0.47 because we went down to 0.4 and over to 0.07. So 0.47 appears to be the z-score for this probability. So the probability that z is greater than it is 0.32. The z value would be 0.47. So now let's go to finally to the between scenario. These are always symmetric, so that means we're looking for two values that are equal distance from the middle, these two values. So that is the probability between them is some given value. In this case, 0.92. If we have 0.92 in the middle, that means we have 1 minus 0.92 because this whole area is, again, equal to 1. So if we have 1 minus 0.92, which is 0.08 on the outsides, but we have two tails, so we want it, which is spread evenly on both of these tails. So we have 0.08 divided by 2, and we get these tails to be 0.04 and 0.04. So we look at up in the middle of the table what 0.04 is, and let's look at that again. We're going to go to the negative side because it's less than 0.5. So close to 0.04 down here. and we get right here, it looks like. So we have negative 0.7, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So negative 1.75. So we know that this side is negative 1.75, and this side is just the positive value of that. So our z-scores are going to be negative 1.75 and 1.75. And that's what we get. Okay, and then in summary, there are two possible problems that you will have for these scenarios. One is that you're asked to find the probability and you're given the z. So you have to look at the table and you look at the outside, so the top and and to the left, so the first row and to the first column, to find the given z to get the probability. And then the second one is if you are asked to find the z and you're given the probability, you look up the probability that's closest, which is in the middle of the table, to find the z's. And again, there's 3 scenarios for each of these problems, and less than, greater than, and between. And that's it for this lecture.